Welcome to the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richheimer. I am so excited to have you here. And I'm especially excited to have Jamie Geller, the cook, the chef, the world, she's been like leading this huge movement of awesomeness. And I'm really excited. Before we get into the stuff about how to manage your life and whatever, I just want to know, what have you been up to? Because you've been up to everything. I mean, you're just like this a queen of accomplishment. And you're also a great wife. So we want to learn from you what we can
What
do and
did
how
you
we can.
speak to my husband? You know that to be true for sure.
Hello. Okay, fine.
I would say he's a great husband and I'm along for the ride, you know, and that's like the really the truth of it. And I love that you just gave me a new title. So I could be like Chief Awesome Officer. I would love if someone was to give me that title.
Okay, but brilliant. So tell us what you're up to, because everybody knows you. Everyone who's watching, like, knows, has made one of your recipes or all of your recipes or every single one of your recipes ever, and everybody follows you, and everybody wants to know what's JB Geller up to. You're like, in 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 the deepest sense of the word, people want to emulate goodness and emistic and whatever. So the question is, you made a big transition about 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit
Yeah.
about it, and what did you do and how did you make that decision and whatever. We're going to mostly, ladies, just so you know, she's going to give us a lot of ideas on how to be a corporate executive and also be an awesome wife. Actually, I'm going to take that back. She's going to tell us how to be an awesome wife and a corporate executive, because we get our priorities straight. But I
Totally.
just want to find out what the details of what you've been doing.
So, I mean, we've spoken before and we've caught up. And so, if any of the ladies are regular listeners, which I know they all follow you loyally, so they know I joined Aish about 5 years ago as the Chief Media and Marketing Officer. So, this past year, with the start of 2025, I took on a new role. I like to say I kind of just like came out from behind the scenes, and now I am the Chief Communications Officer and Global Spokesperson for Aish. And Aish, as we know, is an international educational institution and really a movement that just celebrated 50 years of teaching Torah to the world. We teach Torah to everyone, and our pillars are wisdom, love, and responsibility. Wisdom, obviously, being Torah, love for every Jew, and each of us taking responsibility for ourselves and for the world around us to make it a better place. And so
Wait, slow
it has
down.
been
I want everyone to get that, because that is really empowering. So say it again.
wisdom,
That's
love.
okay. Love.
Yeah, wisdom is Torah, of course.
Hmm.
Love is making sure that we love every single Jew. There's a lot been said about achdus and unity and how critical that is. And I think that when we approach that conversation from a place of love, people ask, what is the Jewish people? Are we a race? Are we a religion? Are we a culture? We're a family. And we know this. And Leah, we've spoken about this before, how critical it is, how we make things work when with our family, even these fractured relationships and the challenges we have, because that love and that connection is what forces us to find a solution. So we need to find that same love for our fellow Jewish family, which is so fractured and so hurting right now. And then responsibility, which that ties everything into what we just spoke about. We have a responsibility to ourselves to be our best selves and achieve greatness. And we have a responsibility to our family and to the world to make it a better place. We know we're Orla Goyim, we know, and yeah, so I see you
So,
interrupt. Yeah.
yeah, no, I just don't understand responsibility. Like, it's individual responsibility or responsibility
Both.
for Jewish people, or like, what do you mean?
Both. We can't take responsibility for the Jewish people and start to stand up, b'makom she'ein ish or isha, and stand up and do what needs to be done until we first take an individual responsibility and worked on ourselves. We know that to be true in every area of life. If we don't love ourselves, how can we love others? If we don't take care of ourselves good enough, how will we take care of others? And that's the same thing. We do have an achrayus, a responsibility to fix the issues that we see in the Jewish world, whether they be personal, communal, or global in world Jewry. But we first have to take responsibility for ourselves and work on ourselves to achieve greatness, and then we can do
Okay, so
reverberate out from
I
there.
get that as like this, it's a wonderful billboard, it's a
Yes,
wonderful
yeah,
sticker. What does it
yeah,
mean, like, in practical terms? Like, okay, I buy it. Let's say I buy it.
right. Yes,
I do actually,
yeah,
not
I know you
saying.
do, by the way, so that's
Okay.
why we can have a good conversation.
Right. Okay. But I mean, I buy it, right? Responsibility. What does that look like? What is it like day to day? How does that, I wake up and now I'm responsible. What does it mean? What does it mean? How does it infiltrate into our lives and to empower us?
So let's talk about from a personal level first. What are the areas that we can improve? If we have certain midos that we need to improve on, if we certain, there's bein adam lechavero and there's bein adam lemakom, are there certain areas
Can
between
you
us and
translate those?
Hashem?
Translate those
Oh,
for us.
I'm
Yeah, sorry.
so sorry. I would love to speak in English, but sometimes so
Yeah, okay.
yes. So we have our commitments between each other. So these are the interpersonal between human to human. And then we have these commitments between ourselves and God. And so when we talk about improving certain character traits or refining ourselves in our behaviors or our habits, there are the ones that we have between each other. Do I need to do more volunteer work? Do I need to give more a loving ear? Do I need to give more time? Is it more about quantity? Is it more about quality? Where can I be working on these interpersonal relationships, whether with my husband, my children, my neighbors, and my friends? How can I improve myself on that level? And then there's the spiritual level. How do I need to be praying more, turning to God, working on my belief and my faith in him and understanding that there is a plan for everything and not giving up and waking up every day knowing it's a new day with a new smile. Every person has their areas that they want to dedicate to and work on and refine. And when we talk about being a whole, good, healthy person, so we need to find some of us are naturally stronger and some naturally deficient and others and have been put here on this earth to refine certain different character traits. And that's why we're all pieces of a whole. So those are like when we talk about taking individual responsibility, those are just some of the examples, and everyone can insert that example for themselves, that thing that they know they want to work on and improve and refine and just elevate in terms of their own
So
life.
you're saying that it, the Vilna Gaon says the reason we're plunked on the earth is to improve our character traits. That's, I hope I'm
Yeah. Yeah. Did he
doing it
use
right.
plunked? Is that like a
Yeah,
direct,
definitely direct quote, plunked.
Yes, yes,
So that's why we're here. I hope I'm doing it correctly, but I'm
yes.
not so great with sources exactly. But I'm pretty sure this is how it is. And what he says is that and that's what the whole Muslim movement is improving our mitos slowly but surely. So what you're saying is the stand that Aisha Torah says, the thing they're trying to get into the world is individual responsibility for each person to fulfill their shlemus, to fulfill their perfection in the world, to like, in other words, God gave us this soul. When we're born, God gave us this soul, right?
Right.
And we want to take it over the course of our lifetime and improve it, and hand it back to him in a better way and as good as we possibly can, and maximize our potential, maximize what we're contributing. And that's what you're saying is taking responsibility.
Yes, that's what and personal responsibility. And also, you're speaking about it on a soul level and even on a practical day-to-day level, people need to feel like they have a mission and a purpose that allows you to get through those hard times, that allows you to work on that faith that we spoke about. And I feel like um, when people work toward sort of understanding what their purpose is and trying to actualize it and achieve it, I think that helps people face some of the day-to-day, many of the day-to-day challenges that we have. So I think very much, yeah, I see you going. So I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to,
yeah. I'm totally with you. I'm just trying to bring it down to a practical level because,
yeah,
in terms of a step by step. So my thinking is, one of the Rev Yerucham, I believe it is, in the Muslim movement says that, rather more than people need to know what their weaknesses are, which we all know. Give me a bat, bonk, bonk, bonk.
yeah. Oh yeah, we could write a list this
Yeah,
long,
that's
totally.
right. More than we need to know what our weaknesses are, we need to know what our strengths are. And
Yes,
and so the whole Muslim movement is really, you think, okay, I have a short temper, but I'm really good with hachnesses orchim. I'm making this up, okay?
yes,
But I have a short temper and I'm always yelling at everybody. So you think we dive down and stop yelling at everybody. And that's not what the Muslim movement says. The Muslim movement says we need to, double down on your hachnesses orchim, and then
yeah,
and kindness to them and patience with them, and that will work. It's not that you should ignore your things, but it's like, ooh, people spend so much time trying to patch up where
yeah.
their weaknesses are, and that's not our Masorah, is to double down on our good things. So
Can I just
practical.
say
Yeah.
also, when you start with the weakness, as you spoke about, so your fighting nature, when you double down, or to use a very more popular term, lean in to
Hmm.
your strengths, so then that trickles down to improve other areas of your life. When
I
you when
love it.
you
Yeah.
when you feel like you're achieving something that where you have this beautiful strength, like you said, this gift for opening up your home and hosting and bringing joy to others. So that brings you more fulfillment and brings you more joy, and then trickles down to the other areas where you might be short-tempered or where you might be struggling. It gives you an overall wholeness, as you spoke, calmness, and the feeling of accomplishing. Because when we accomplish, so then better, it's
Oh yeah.
like perpetuates better. But you know what it's like if you're, to use a terrible thing, on a diet. And I hate, right, like we hate that word, and it should have been outlawed, I think, in the 90s. But
Right,
you know,
right,
you cheat, you go off the diet, and you think, I'm just
right.
gonna have one. Oh, but I had one, now I have to have the bag, and I had the bag, and now I have to go like eat the whole potato
Yeah,
chips. Now I have to eat everything in the pantry. That
right.
also, so if we're trying to go against our nature, it can create this let's call it like a hamster wheel, or like let's go have you tumbling down the hill in it, versus when you are pushing and leaning in, then you're going up the hill, and everything, like, a rising tide rises all ships.
So
So
I want to, with this responsibility, if it's possible, if I can, oh, you disappeared for a second. If
I realized, I'm like, I think my camera is like fuzzy, so I went like this because I'm like,
Oh
do
yeah,
you
no,
see me
no, I
okay?
can
It's
see
good,
you.
good.
We see you great.
Okay.
We see you great. And geweldig upon him.
I was
Okay,
showing
so
I'm a magician also. That was my, hidden skill.
it
I'm
was
just
like, yeah, you
kidding.
disappeared. So no, if you can, um, give us, like, I'm sure, because that's responsibility. If that's what H is, you have some,
Yeah,
you've been pushing that for 5 years. So if
yeah,
you can just give us maybe three practical steps of how a person can like take it from the billboard of, yeah, that's great. I'd love to take responsibility, but what can they actually do? It's like for Rosh Hashanah, it's like, oh, I want to be better. I wanted this. And you have all these
yeah.
plans, and then the Rabbanim say, cut it in half, cut it in half again, cut it in half again, take this.
Totally.
So if you can just walk us through a three-step process, and then I want to get right to how you
Sure.
are doing all what you do and making your husband happy. Okay, fine. So, but first, let's get the three steps that a person can take to start taking responsibility as you're discussing.
So if we're talking about it on the individual level, if we'll continue on that level. So first of all, I very much believe in like stopping and thinking. Like we say that to kids who suffer from ADHD or impulsivity, stop and think. And we need to do that. Whether you've been diagnosed with ADHD or anything, we all deserve a moment to stop and think and to take a breath. For some people, that's journaling, and for some people, it's praying, and for some people, it's meditating, or for some people, it's just doing. When I go to bed at night, I like to close my eyes, breathe deeply, and think about the day and think back. And so, again, whether you're technically writing or doing like an internal checklist, I like to take that moment and reflect back on the last day, on the last week, and think about what I want to improve moving forward. And I just taking that breath and that moment and creating that space for just thinking is really important. And as a businesswoman, I learned from EOS, which is an entrepreneurial operating system. It's a system that Aish runs on, but it's a system for running businesses all over the world. Fortune 500 companies use it. They talk about taking clarity breaks. This is even on the business level, where they say you have to stop working in the business and think about working on the business. So take these
Wait, say that
moments.
again. Slow that in the, say that again. You have to think.
Stop. You have to stop. Every day we're running and we're
Right,
working in the business. We're working,
right,
working, working, working. Now we have to stop and step back and take a clarity break. No, that can mean once a quarter, you take yourself out to
right. But
coffee.
hold on. You said in the thing, and then you changed it to on the thing.
Yes, yes.
Can you say it?
So
Can you
yes. So
say the
stop
sentence again?
working in the business and instead step back and work on the business. So we're
Ah,
trying to think instead
hold
of
on a
in
second.
it.
That's a brain. That's huge, guys. That's huge. That's what I mean. I'm thinking of, applying it to people's homes. Stop working in the home. But
Yeah, yeah,
the eggs are burning
yeah.
and and step back and work on the home.
On the home. The
Ooh,
same with the marriage, right? Because as you're trying to fix things as they're happening, you're just putting out fires. It's very hard to be strategic when you're putting out fires because you're just fighting to stay alive. There's a game called Whack-A-Mole where, like, I don't know if you're the kid game, where like something pops up, you hit that, you hit that, you hit that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. We're just fighting to stay alive, to stay afloat. But when you stop and think back and you get to work on the business, on the marriage, on the relationship, on yourself, you're thinking strategically. You're giving yourself what we see in Hebrew, a rosh gadol, a bigger picture perspective on what is really not the Band-Aid, but the potential solutions to the issues that keep bubbling up.
Can you do it with a
So
martini while you have a sipping?
yeah, I mean, I don't drink, but
Me neither. Me neither.
I love tea. I love tea. So
Okay,
you
good.
could do it with a tea, you could do it
Tea.
with a martini,
Hot chocolate,
whatever
maybe
you.
with marshmallows, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
talking my language. Extra marshmallows and
Okay.
extra chocolate.
That's it.
And that's
Okay.
what I said. Take yourself out for coffee, whatever it is that you like, but just it's that stepping back. So again, we just gave a few practical ideas: meditation, prayer, take yourself out for coffee, journal, but you need to step back and think.
Okay, so that's step
Then,
one, ladies. Write
yes.
that down. Everybody get a pen or write it in your phone, whatever you need to do. Gavaldic. Okay, go ahead. What's step
Okay.
number two?
Step two is, so when you're doing this thinking, so let's do categories. Let's thinking about the weaknesses and the strengths. Okay. I think it's so important to do that self-accounting and really identifying what are weaknesses and what are strengths. And sometimes, by the way, you might realize that the things are in the wrong column. What you might think is a weakness, empathy, kind-hearted, because you might think it's a weakness, maybe you're letting people walk all over you, maybe you're giving into, you might be able to turn that into a strength. And I feel that as a woman in business, we keep vacillating back and forth between personal and professional, but as a woman in business, I find that a lot of those feminine qualities, which you might think don't serve you well in the boardroom, which is like optimism, positivity, love, empathy, I have found have been my secret sauce, if you will, to allowing me to elevate myself in the business world. So just so write those columns, weaknesses and strength, and do an assessment. Is this really a weakness? Maybe it could be turned into a strength or vice versa. So that you get those columns.
Got it. Excellent. Okay, good. What's step number three? Beautiful.
And the step three, you gave the answer before, so I'll just steal it back from you.
Okay.
Let's lean into the strengths instead of trying to fix and repair and go against nature, which is so hard. Change is so hard. Improvement is so hard. And as you said, we're supposed to do it in these little increments. But if you're leaning into the things that are so against your nature or that are so challenging for you or already represent a weakness, let's lean into, double down, and work on the strengths first. And that will have this ripple effect. And you'll see, again, the rising tide raises all shifts.
Okay, this is amazing, amazing. Like, right? Don't you feel like you could really shift your direction? It's give you a whole clear understanding where to go, what to do next. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. And we've got so many questions coming in. Debbie, why don't you go ahead and give us the first question?
Okay, Sheer is asking, working outside the house brings a lot of satisfaction and it's valuable work. How can we manage to feel that same satisfaction when doing household chores?
Great. First of all, one of my favorite things to do when I do household chores is to pray. I find it such a wonderful moment, whether I am doing the dishes or folding laundry, if what happens that all the kids are at school at that time. So I use that as me time to just like focus, to pray, to speak to God. And I often speak, either I say Psalms, like that I know by heart, that connect to me on a very soul level, or I just use my own words to be very thankful if I'm in a thankful mood, or if I'm going through a specific challenge, just speaking to God in my own language, in my own words. If the kids are around, I'm very much into us doing the chores together. And it's amazing. I love folding laundry with them. We do dishes together. This one does the dishes, this one dries, this one unloads. And I find like when the family's working as a unit, and especially with the kids, there's just like you develop the sense. I played sports growing up. I didn't grow up religious, and I played on the basketball team and the soccer team. And there's such a feeling of team, and you get that in sports a lot. And I wanted to always evoke like Team Geller, the house and the family, the kids were all Team Geller. So when we do certain things like that, like cleaning up from Shabbos, getting ready from Shabbos, like this one's doing the floors and this one's doing the dishes. And I'm like, with music on, I just feel like it's a team. So I find that those things bring me a lot of satisfaction because I feel like I'm building that camaraderie and team and like pride in our family amongst my kids when we're together. And then when I have the chance to be alone, it's like, how many moments do we get alone? So that's like my moment to connect on a spiritual level. And by the way, we always say this because like Gellers don't do that. Like Gellers do this, like that, like we speak about it to try to get them to feel this sense of pride in what it means to be a Geller, to be connected to all of our Masorah and our Minhagim. And this is like both technical Masorah Minhagim and like also attitude, practical, and every like just like Tachlis, like both Ruchnius and Gashmius, what Gellers do and don't do. You know what I'm saying? There's how Gellers shake, the boys go out and shake hands and give a strong handshake. Something as little as that, as something as like, oh, this is like our minhag. We stand for this. We sit for this, you know, like whatever part of Kiddush or whatever. So yeah, we're really into, my husband played sports too. So I don't know if it comes from that background, but like we're very into Team Geller. And when you're Purim, we dressed up as Team Geller and we actually had it on the t-shirts and like, you know.
It's so beautiful. What if you're in like a grouchy mood? I've heard other people have grouchy moods, okay? So I'm not saying it's about me. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're asking for a friend. You're
Right,
asking for a friend.
right, exactly. 'Cause I have a friend who gets in grouchy
Yes.
moods, like, whatever. How do you get through with the housework when you're like that?
Oh, sometimes we spoke about leaning in. We'll just go with it. I just lean into it. Like, and sometimes I'm crying and I just cry. It feels good. I feel better after. And I just feel like I don't try again to go against nature. We keep like in this circular conversation. If that's what I need to feel in that moment, it's okay. I think feeling the feelings versus pushing them and suppressing them down, they're going to come out in a really bad way, in an explosion, in short temper, whether with my kids or with my husband. And then it's not even about them. It's really about me and it's about something else. So you got to let yourself like ride those moods. And there are times there are just certain times where that's the situation, that's the reality, whether it's their hormonal, whether it's, you know, something's happening in the world or something's happening at work or something's happening, you know, that just made you feel like that. I don't know. I feel it. I just go for it.
Wow, very interesting. Okay, good. What do we got, Deb? You got another one coming in.
Okay, Hannah's asking, how does a wife make sure her husband doesn't feel threatened by his wife being so successful?
Hello.
Oh my gosh. First of all, this is such a good question. It is such an important question. I'll tell you a few things that I do. First of all, in the house, in the setting of us, like let's say at our Shabbos table, when we have guests, my husband, you can see, I love to talk. I naturally like the stage. I like performance. I like attention. It's like it's my natural state. Okay. I grew up, by the way, as a professional dancer on stage. Like I let my husband be the star. I do speak less. I think it's important for the kids to see a really strong, and he is a strong man, but I make sure and careful not to overpower or overspeak or steal the limelight because it's like I could do that very easily. And I just let him speak, if I say Divrei Torah, everyone understands, give the weekly, Torah lesson, be the one to be making conversation with the guests and initiating the conversation. And I do. And by the way, I enjoy a moment of relaxation. If I didn't do that, I would like always be on and never relax. It achieves two things. It allows me to recharge from my professional life, and it allows him to be the king and the center of the table and who my kids look up to and who the guest looks up to, and like to sort of have his rightful place, and just allow him the space to have that. So that I think is important.
That is wow, that is just beautiful. It's actually like this is in a nutshell. Put your duct tape. That's beautiful. Really, really instructive. Okay, we have time for one more, Deb. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, come.
Okay, Penina's asking, I have so many dreams and passions, but I never seem to get there. You seem to have really made it. Can you give us advice how to finally actualize our dreams?
I really believe at two levels. One is speaking it into the world. I say it, pick one. Let's go with that. The first thing to do is start with one. Okay. So many, we know it's hard. So start with one. And the second is speak it out. Tell people about it. You need to bring it into the world. If your dreams and passions continue to be a quiet moment just with yourself where you keep saying, I wished I would have, and I never did, like it's less likely to be actualized. But if people hold you accountable, ask you about that, circle back about it, I think that you can help to bring it into reality. And sometimes I talk about things for years. Penina, what's her name? Penina, for years, I'll talk about it. But I feel like, again, I'm putting it out there, and that's more of a chance for me to meet someone that can help make it happen. Someone can connect me to someone, or again, someone will come back and circle back and hold me accountable, or me speaking it out makes it more real than just like being, a dream in my head.
That's gewaldic. Okay, I think we're out of time. Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, so we actually want to this has been incredible. I feel like we got more than we bargained for. When I thought we lovely, light little whatever. I feel like you gave us a real mission. It's gewaldig. We would like to give homework at the end of each show. So is there one thing, small that people can do, if you'd like to give the homework, what people can do this week to forward their fulfilling their mission in life and taking responsibility for their life?
So create that space for yourself to think on whatever it is that you want to improve, and make that list. And remember to make sure that the weaknesses and the strengths are in the right place. So think it right.
Thank you so much for being here. It was really gave us all chizik and loved having you on the show. Thank you so much for being